Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, introducing you to my Rage Nightmare difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 13, and this is the Hijacked well. And that bell is tolling for a reason, and that is because there is a bunch of mutants that are trying to break into the aqueducts of this place, of Wellspring. So before I go down into the sewers, because I know what I'm about to get myself into, I hit the outfitter, and I would advise you to do the same to make sure that after the last few missions you've taken on, depending on the order that you've done them, you have enough equipment to take these guys on, because there is a lot of fighting in the sewers with dudes that are very fast, so it's an easy opportunity to waste lots of ammunition. And I'm going to be buying things so that I can build the turret, the little turret bot for a lot of it, and selling a load of shit I don't need. Because I've already expressed my opinions about the little car. I don't like it. The turrets as well, the ones that you sit there and stationary, I don't like those because they get knocked over and they're pretty much useless. I do like the advanced robot dude who walks around. He's real good, so I make him more than I make anything else. I have made the advanced turrets. They're much better than the other ones, but still I don't think they're anywhere as effective as the robots can be, because the robots chase people down. They melee attack and all sorts. They're really fun. And what the robots don't kill, the wind sticks do, so I win that way. That's how I roll. I just kind of wish there was more ammunition in this game, because there is a lot of different ammo types, but I thought they were going to go completely batshit crazy with it and just have ridiculous stuff. Like, the pistol seems to have more ammo than anything. The crossbow has a lot of different ammo types. Everything else generally has one, and that kind of sucks, because especially with some of the creative ones the pistol has, like the ability to fire every single bullet in the pistol in one shot. That was a good one. I liked that. It reminded me of the magsec off the Perfect Dark. But there I go, building shit. I might be creating more of the explosive rounds for the shotgun. No idea what I'm doing, but this is completely optional. This is completely personal as well. Depending on how you're playing the game and how your preferences for each situation will depend on what you buy. It's just the nature of the beast. There is not going to be a Fallout guide on YouTube that is identical to the stuff that you will do personally, because everyone's different. And I think that's what makes it interesting to watch, just to see how people approach different scenarios. And that is a lot of the reasons why I watch guides personally. I've never really watched guides to know how to do certain areas, but I've watched them to listen to somebody else do something that I thought was difficult, because it's always nice to hear their opinion on it and hear what they thought and hear what they did differently, what they surmised was different, and all that kind of good stuff. And sometimes it can be fascinating, and other times it can be frustrating, because there'll be a section that you had a massive amount of trouble on, and you'll watch someone in a video say it was easy, and all you do is this, and that's the perfect recipe of beating it, and you were there for 2 hours, pulling your hair out. And there's nothing worse than that, but it's just the nature of difficulty, really. So here I go, building some things once again. Crafting like a mofo, as I would say. And then we're probably going to go to the Wellmaster's office and get cracking. So you're going to get a new ammo type here for the crossbow. It's going to be the electrical round, and this serves a whole bunch of purposes, because there are electronic panels that will be littered throughout the world what you fire at, and it will send an electric charge through it, and it will turn a piece of machinery on. And what the machinery does is it'll either open doors, it'll do this, it'll do that. It does various things. It can be for secrets, it can be for the way forward. And it's an interesting little use. What it's also good for is, I tried to get into the mayor's office then. Don't ask me why. I had a bit of a mind fart. It was quite late when I was recording it. But what they're also really useful for is if any enemies are standing in water. Because if you ever played Bioshock, the electricity plasmid was one of the most powerful ones, because everything was so filled with water early on, and it made a lot of fights very easy. You could actually lure people into water just to fuck them up with the lightning. And this is the exact same concept as that. The difference being is there is nowhere near the same amount of moisture. But in the Wellmaster, down into the Wellmaster aqueducts and what have you, there is a ton of it. There's a lot of little pools of water and things that you can use to your advantage to get some quick and easy multi-kills. So it's definitely a valid strategy depending on how useful you think it's going to be for your playstyle. For me, it proved useful early on, and then towards the end I completely gave up on it because there's too many enemies, there's not enough water, and the crossbow is semi-automatic. And when you're getting gang raped, it's never going to pull you out of that situation. And this is an interesting topic that I've not mentioned about rage yet. And this is the same thing I actually had problems with in Bioshock, because adventures where you go into scenarios like this one we're faced with now, where we're coming into this dungeon of sorts, where a bunch of enemies are going to be, and there's the whole mystery of what the enemies are doing, why they're there, and what happened to the people that were once in this area. That whole... there's probably a name for it in the construct of a game, but I'm not aware of what it is. That to me is one of the most fascinating parts of these kind of first-person shooters. Bioshock even more so, because Rapture itself was a mystery, and it was super fun just exploring this world that they'd fleshed out and finding all these tiny details. But the one thing that really bugged me is you never met any people who were survivors. Never did. It never happened. And on this game, just then, we saw Jerry, he was injured, he didn't have much to say, and then we walked away from him and we carried on. If that had happened every so often through these dungeons, if you met, you know, just a little pocket of people who gave you a little bit of the story, a little bit of what had happened, just a little bit of expositional knowledge, it would fill out some of these areas so much more and make them a lot less repetitive. And it's the same on Bioshock. If there'd have just been the occasional time where you met a human that wasn't trying to rip your face off with a wrench, it would have had such an impact. But you never did. It was all the audiobooks and the radios and stuff. And this is not me saying, you know, meet a ton of people and completely affect the gameplay. This could be people on the other side of a piece of glass that you can never physically get to, so it would never affect the dungeon. Just a little bit of storyline, a little bit of humanity to the environment. Even if it was meeting somebody who was injured and then died. Something like that, just little touches that make it more than you walking down endless corridors shooting guys in the face. Because the reason that works for Call of Duty is because every 5 minutes Michael Bay is just, you know, jizzing everywhere and stuff's blowing up. And everything's hectic, everything's crazy, and before you know where you are, you're whisked off to the other side of the world in a completely different environment. You could not have that game last 10 hours. It wouldn't work. And that's the reason why the Call of Duty campaigns are about 4 hours long, because it's too much. It's too much, too fast. And it doesn't last, because you just get exhausted. And if you had 12 hours of that, by the end of it, you'd probably be like a crack addict coming off of heroin, even though they're two completely different drugs. But this section right now, when you move into this area, you'll notice I backed all the way up because I knew I would trigger the spawn. And every enemy is going to rush you and try and beat you up. And the only problem here is these catwalks, you will get wedged. You want to trigger the spawns and move back into this better position, because this way they have to come to you. You know exactly where they're coming from, and you can do what I'm doing right now. I'm using the assault rifle because I have nearly 600 rounds with it. It's not the most powerful or effective weapon against these dudes, but if you've got a lot of ammo, why not use it? That's my motto, and that's what I'm sticking with. But right there is a badly removed save screen thanks to this game and its poorly optimized menus. But as soon as you push under that catwalk, you will trigger another spawn. The only problem with this one is people come from behind you on this one. And it's because they jump off the catwalk in a different area. But if you stay where I am right now, you shouldn't get hit by the guy in front, and you should be able to push forward. And it looks like the guy hasn't come from behind me this time. But I did die in this area, and I have had an experience where the AI went a different path. So just be aware of that, because it's adaptive enemy AI, which is very rare these days. It's generally just, you know, sit behind cover, poke head out, get shot in the face kind of AI. But there's a lot of good things about this game, and I know I might talk negative about certain aspects. I did enjoy it, and I do recommend you play it. I just think it's very disappointing for what it could have been. And as soon as you come in here, as soon as you hear that, that means that there's going to be a bunch of the mutants that will attack you. The gate goes down, here they come. Try not to get wedged like I just did then. That is very dangerous, and I should probably use a bandage here, because one more swipe will kill me, but I'm cocky like that sometimes, and I knew, well, I was obviously confident in my ability to evade. But use your wind sticks, use your shotgun, and if you start getting punched, kill the guy who's punching you. It's all very simple, all self-explanatory. And then just keep moving forward. And this is one of the last real missions in Wellspring, because what's going to be happening is the next one is for us to liberate a guy, which is pretty quick. It's still a full mission, I would class it as, but it's quicker than this one by a long shot. And you go into an authority prison, you free him, and then you start working for him. and that's when you take on the last real mission of Wellspring area, which is the Dead City ones. And we've already been there, so we know all about the Dead City. This time though, we do it in reverse and we take on a bunch of soldiers instead. And it's a hell of a lot easier, because the soldiers are very easy, especially the jetpack guys. What I've not mentioned, and you might not be aware of, later on in the game, the enemy spawning mechanic is like a ship flies across, a big drop ship, and it will drop in a bunch of soldiers on jetpacks. The only problem with this ship is it drops them in a vertical line, so you can literally aim where they're going to be and shoot them in mid-air before they land. And when they're still on the jetpacks, they only take about 3 or 4 bullets, so you can spawn kill all of them very easily. And I don't know why they enabled you to do this in the game, but it completely takes away any challenge it might have had, because it is extremely easy to just murder people before they've even fired a shot. And later on in the game, it makes it almost laughable with how bad it is. But once you do that, you move across the subway town then, and it's on to the second disc. But this is the end of the first video of Mission 13. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, you take care now.